Doc Loves the Kids, a local Kitsap County nonprofit organization established in 2015, whose mission is to provide activities, programs, and community support for at-risk youth.
They put the U in community.
Doc Loves the Kids.
Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy,
where we give you the courtesy of conversation
that's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this is the show. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to catch us every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time on the Friday Fix. Don't forget to catch us on Civil Discourse and Plays and Parlays. Hello, Wesley. It's been a wild day.
It's always a wild day in this world. You know, so in this world we live in right now with the administration we have in office right now, it's always a wild day.
I feel like that's what I started. It's been a wild day. That's why I always start, because it's just, you know, soon we're going to be like, oh, it's been a normal day. You know, 30,000 people have been deported that were U.S. citizens at birth, but somehow it's not, you know.
Somehow they're no longer here, huh?
Yeah, somehow. Well, I mean, there's a couple of things that had gone on today, so I'm going to talk to you about breaking news. 6 injured, possibly with burns, in a Colorado attack the FBI is investigating as terrorism. 6 people were injured Sunday in what the FBI immediately described as a targeted terror attack at an outdoor mall in Boulder, Colorado, where a group had gathered to raise attention to the Israeli hostages held in Gaza. The suspect, identified as 45-year-old Muhammad Solomon, yelled "Free Palestine" and used a makeshift flamethrower in the attack, said Mark Mickle, the special agent in charge of the Denver field office. Solomon was taken into custody. No charges were immediately announced, but officials said they expect to hold him fully accountable. Solomon was also injured and was taken to the hospital to be treated, but authorities didn't elaborate on the nature of his injuries. Video from the scene showed a witness shout, "He's right there. He's throwing Molotov cocktails," as a police officer with his gun drawn advanced on a bare-chested suspect with containers in each hand. The attack took place at the popular Pearl Street pedestrian mall, a 4-block area in downtown Boulder, where demonstrators with a volunteer group called Run for Their Lives have gathered to raise visibility for the hostages who remain in Gaza as a war between Israel and Hamas continues to inflame global tensions and has contributed to a spike of anti-Semitic violence in the United States. It occurred more than a week after the fatal shooting of 2 Israeli embassy staffers in Washington by a Chicago man who yelled, "I did it for Palestine, I did it for Gaza," as he was being led away by the police.
Man, every time there's any type of anything happens, there's a rise in anti-Semitism. There's this and that and the third. I mean, I think that, you know, no one wants this. The dude's crazy. Let's start off right there.
Yeah.
Dude is nuts. Yeah. You should have seen the video of him. It's messed up that he went out there and is throwing, you know, Molotov cocktails at people. They should have knocked him down. That's how I feel. You should have knocked him down. You shouldn't have, he walking around with his shirt off with 2 bottles in both hands, a bottle in each hand. And people are sitting there kind of looking at him.
Yeah.
And he got a fire burning in front of him. Like, you don't do that. Get away from that dude. Somebody lay him down. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how I feel about it. But I think I'm not even sure what his reasoning was behind what he did. And it doesn't really matter. What he's doing is stupid. It doesn't make any sense for him to be doing that. However, you know, I wonder what these people were actually, they said they were protesting.
They're protesting
the remaining
Israelis that are still hostages in Gaza.
So I'm almost wondering, like, okay, because I know that Netanyahu said that the hostages are not his priority anymore. He said that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the hostages. It matters more that we get rid of Israeli enemies. Wherever they are in Gaza, we want to get rid of them. That's what his thing was. So I'm wondering if they're protesting the fact that there are still remaining hostages, or the fact that, you know, hey, they're still remaining hostages. Let's not just go in here and just bombard the place and blow up everything because there's people remaining. So what is this dude's angle?
I mean, where are they remaining in Gaza? We've seen pictures of that the
They've
whole
been
time.
Getting released,
you know what I'm seeing right now? The people in Gaza, they starved them out for 80 days. Then they put them in a cage. So they had to wait for aid to come out there. Then they're bombing the aid workers. They're bombing the aid places. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing monstrous stuff, I don't understand how people are shocked when monstrous stuff happens back to you. Am I advocating for violence? No. Am I against the Jewish faith? No, I have no problem with the religion, but I do have problems with Israel. I've watched their heinous acts for over a year. You know what I'm saying? The one thing they can't do. I mean, this is just since I've been aware of it. The one thing they can't do is stop the camera from rolling. They just killed a journalist out there. They killed her whole family, and her pregnant sister. All of them. Bombed them because she did a whole documentary on them, and they tried to block the film. You know what I'm saying? Like when you can do stuff like that, and think about it, only time our free speech is in question here in America is when it comes to talking about Israel.
Yep, that's facts.
You know what I'm saying? The only time they're like, oh, whoa, you can't say that. You can't. But why can't I say that? So, but this attack, this is sad. You know what I'm saying? But also on the other hand, you can have this demonstration and it's fine. But if you demonstrate for Palestine, they want to throw you out the country, arrest you, take everything from you. So that should just tell you. Because think about it, you can be pro-Russian, you can be Ukrainian, no one cares. You know what I'm saying? But it's just this one group it's able to take away your American rights. But I mean, this is a sad situation. Nobody in America should die for some stuff that's happening in a foreign land. Tensions are rising and people are their eyes are opening to, who's pulling the strings behind the scene.
And I'm like, what is his angle? Like this dude's, it looked like a pretty bad look. I mean, he looked like a pretty bad instance. A lot of smoke I saw on a couple of videos that I saw, like smoke bellowing up, a lot of it. And this dude, like he came ready for this. They had the little towels hanging out the bottles and stuff. He had some moonshine, whatever it was in the bottles.
Bottles of Colorasi.
Yeah, what I'm saying? Like he was ready to go. And it's you would hope that he was on a college campus, correct? Looked like or something.
No, they're at a mall. They're at the mall. It's
somewhere where there should have been armed guards at. Somebody should have center masked him. You know what I mean? Period. That's what should have happened.
Well, Colorado is. Wherever they're in Colorado is probably a liberal area, so people aren't just carrying guns around.
Well, there's mall cops.
Yeah, but me, like I tell you, bro, I have. It's crazy. When I left out the country, I couldn't have the gun, so I was living free spirited. I got back here, I thought about how I used to sit next on the toilet with the gun next to me.
Jesus,
I was ready for that action.
I mean, sounds like
you ain't gonna catch me slumped like. No, sir.
Nah, definitely. Trump team looks to end $37 billion program designed to help minority business, saying it violates the Constitution. The Trump administration has joined with two white-owned construction companies looking to end a $37 billion program designed to help minority-owned businesses, saying it's unconstitutional. The Indiana-based companies, Mid-American Mining Company and Bagshaw Trucking, Inc., sued the Department of Transportation in 2023 over the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, arguing that it should be permanently dismantled. On Wednesday, the Department of Justice filed a proposal for a settlement with the DOT to dismantle the program, which was first authorized by Congress in 1983 and serves roughly 49,000 businesses that have been deemed to be disadvantaged. The program is funded by the federal government but administered by states and allocates at least 10% of the government funding for transportation infrastructure to such contracting firms. The original complaint described the DBE as the largest and perhaps oldest affirmative action program in U.S. history and claimed that the program's goals were in fact discriminatory barriers, targeting non-designated racial groups, including European Americans or white Americans. The word disadvantage is simply code for women and certain minorities, the complaint stated, adding that disfavored racial groups must compete with the preferred racial groups on an unequal footing. Because the DBE program violates the Constitution's promise of equal treatment, it must be permanently dismantled. Last January, under the Biden administration, the DOT hit back at the suit, saying that the plaintiffs had notably not identified any current transport construction contracts that had race or gender-based subcontracting goals due to the DOE DBE program. However, in a new filing on Wednesday, the administration said it had reevaluated its position in light of a 2023 Supreme Court ruling which blocked race-conscious college admissions. Defendants, upon review of the DBE program and their position in this litigation, have determined that the program use of race and sex-based presumptions is unconstitutional, the filing stated.
So basically, all the stuff that they put in place because, European Americans weren't letting this group of people have any of this stuff. They're like, hey, you got to let other people have something for some reason. Now they're like, oh, take it back. Hey, that's what it is, though. I don't know what anybody thought. Oh, a lot of people thought, there's 77 million people that were like, yes, I need this to be a white Christian country. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what they're doing now. It's not sad anymore. It's just, you get what you vote for and you get what you don't vote for, basically, at the end of the day, because only 25% of us voted.
And you really look at it like this, man. This country has had preferential treatment and continues to have preferential treatment toward European Americans. This is just what it is. When you have even an inkling of trying to say, you know what, it can never be parity. It's like a person, if you got money, if you start making $100 a year or $100 a month back in 1900, and you made that all the way up until now, and I start making it in 1985 until now, I could never catch up with you because you've invested that money. It's turned over. There's been all kinds of, things you've been able to invest in and people you've been able to network with that I could never get to. So imagine that times 200 years or whatever, 350 years or more. So it's just, it can never become parity, but they're trying to say, you know what? There's a way we should try and repair some of these things that have been broken in this country. Let's try and make it so there can be some sort of semblance of parity. When you have white household wealth at almost over 150,000, black household wealth at like $17,000, $20,000, that's not because of anything but racial inequalities, social economic issues that have been exacerbated since slavery. Let's just be real here. That's just a factual a basis behind this. So, this program right here was put in place to be able to try to somewhat repair that. You guys don't want to give reparations when you should. I know we don't owe you anything, but really you do. All banks that you guys are banking with, all the businesses you guys work for, and the money they got their money from, it all comes from old slave money. It just does, whether you like it or not. It's a fact.
Now they're going to get it from new slave money of immigrants.
Exactly. And at the same time, when you're looking at programs like this, they're needed because people are trying to claw their way up out of holes that they've been in, not because of what they've been through, because their parents and programs they weren't allowed to have access to. So it just makes more sense that these things right here should not be gone after by our own Justice Department, because Trump is trying to get rid of anything saying, oh, these are racist. Man, you had racism in your housing. That's why they had to make rules behind people like you who had you and your father who had apartment complexes when you discriminated against letting black people or people of color live in your building.
Well, the whole thing is, all this stuff was put into place because of racism, right? But now since the racists run the country, they're like, nah, we're going back to the norm because we liked it.
Yep,
you know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to
us.
get rid of all that stuff. It's basically like, they threw you a bread loaf, right? But you can only reach the end of the bread loaf. So when you grab it, you just got to rip off a piece of it. Now they're like, that's good enough.
That's a perfect analogy.
That ass.
Perfect analogy. You know what I mean? And so,
they've had enough. They've had enough time to eat,
and they should have caught up to us by now. This shouldn't even. And it's just it's outlandish. They know it. They'll say it in other instances. They'll say the same thing. It's like when Trump talks about immigrants, and he's like, "Oh, well, we need them in this country because we'd have a declining birth rate if we didn't have them. We need them for work and do this." He tells the truth. Then he tells you, I want them all out of here, though, because there's only thing it really is. This is about racism and racism only. That is it. It's not about actual economics, not about what's good for the country. None of this stuff is about what's good for the country. You don't care. You don't even care. You'd rather, like I said, you'd rather have South African Europeans in this country than you'd rather have anyone whose blood would, would taint the blood of America.
Well, the whole thing is like,
you know what I mean?
Think about it.
Keep it real.
They want to go back, right? And maybe in the 60s, the 50s, I'll say then, having an all white America worked out. It worked out.
It didn't work out even then.
No, I'm just saying, but for them, it worked out. These days, it's not going to work. People are educated around the world. Things are different now. You don't say, hey, they're trying to make it. They're trying to, hey, we're going to go back, but it's not going to look.
It didn't work out then, man.
It's destroyed the fabric of our country. We're never going to go back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, you can try to go back, they're trying to, but it's an epic fail that we're all watching ahead of time.
Yeah, even then it didn't work out. Even at that point in time when you felt like they just had neighborhoods that were theirs. They just like, oh, let's put all the nice stuff over here. You know, I around my neighborhood, I look outside and I'll see like fire hydrants every so many feet, every so many yards or whatever. And they're like, oh, that's infrastructure. That means they thought it through. We got running sewer through here. You don't have to use, you don't have like sewage systems in your backyard, none of that kind of stuff, So this is called infrastructure. That's what they did for their neighborhoods. They're like, oh, we're going to make our neighborhoods real nice, real good. Then they let everybody else's neighborhoods go to hell. Let's make their neighborhoods half of the roads. We don't want to fix those roads. We don't want to do nothing for their neighborhoods. We're going to do it all for ours. And then we're going to gentrify their neighborhoods later and kick them out and send them over somewhere. This is what they've been doing. This is what all this is really about here. At some point in time, you guys lived off on your own and everything was good and nice for you. But now we're trying to do the same thing for ourselves. And you're like, like you said, pull the braid away and let us just, figure it out.
About it too, it's like, I saw another podcast where they're like, yo, Black folks been poor so long, we make it look fashionable and cool. Like, we don't like it. We just we deal with it or whatever, right? But you have to think about it. The other side of it, Now these people, you can only squeeze us so much. Now they got to go and squeeze their own people. They're squeezing them, and you can only point the finger at us so much. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't take it. We didn't take anything from you. You know what I'm saying?
And it's not to say it's not to say that we're like, it's not a needy thing, but it's definitely a thing that's like, hey, you know what I mean? Hey, this we're in a race that's not even. Well, I won't even call it. I won't even look. I'm never looking for fair. We're not at this point in time. There is no fair. But hey, don't make it so that's an impossible race.
Well, the whole thing is,
you know what I mean?
They don't. I mean, they can have it all, right? But once they drive by and see you having it, they don't like that. Or somebody was like, "Yo, if you love America, why do you hate everything about it?" Somebody said that. Why do you hate the government? You hate the people in it. You hate all this stuff. All your stuff is just hate. It's just hate. But you say you love America, but you hate everything in it. You know what I'm saying? And just wild stuff.
I mean, just over and over again. This is just kind of where we're at. But we're back again with another thing he's trying to take away. You know what I mean? Like from people of color. Another thing he's trying to take away from minority groups or whatever. I'll say majority minority groups. I mean, so this is a normal thing for us at this point in time. If you guys don't see this, if you guys don't pay attention to these things, that these are things that they're attacking you because they're like, hey, any way that you got to get some money, I'm trying to take that from you. And I'm going to try to give any way I can to me and my people to get some money.
And
that's what that is.
Crazy. They're cutting all these programs in the federal government. It's not like they're going to give you that money back. Remember Elon's 5,000? What happened to that? You know what happened? They're going to cut all these programs in your state and your county, your city or whatever, right? But they're keeping the money. The money's still coming in. There's still money there for that. The government's still going to keep that. They're just keeping it. They're pocketing it. So, attendant facing decades in prison after bust involving new drug made of human bones. A former flight attendant was arrested in an airport following a large drug bust involving a new synthetic substance that is reportedly made of human bones. 21-year-old Charlotte May Lee of South London, England, was taken into custody earlier this month at an airport in Colombo, the capital of Sri Lanka, after authorities allegedly found 101 pounds of a dangerous new synthetic drug. The publication reported that Lee allegedly smuggled in a suitcase full of Kush, a new synthetic cannabinoid that originates from West Africa. A report from NPR.
No, go ahead.
A report from NPR states that the Kush first appeared in West African nation Sierra Leone around 7 years ago and is described as a drug routinely cut with various additives such as the following: acetone, tramadol, and formalin. Those last two are opiates. According to NPR, Kush is a potent, easily accessible in Sierra Leone, and dangerously unpredictable. Before we had money, we'd spent it on food or clothes. Now we just buy Kush. It makes you want to cry, but it's not easy to stop, a Sierra Leone man told NPR. Men don't help their families anymore. They're always smoking at all hours of the day, and they spend all the money on Kush, a woman identified as Elizabeth said when she spoke with NPR. I have to do everything now. According to the Post, Sierra Leone President Julius Maad Bio called the drug a death trap and an existential crisis to the nation. Addition to Kush is reportedly fueling incidents of grave robbing in Sierra Leone, with authorities tightening security at cemeteries to prevent the sites from being disturbed. A lawyer representing Lee told the BBC the stash of Kush, which reportedly holds a street value of $3.3 million, was planted without her knowledge.
She had 101 pounds on a plane. You ain't going to listen. 101 pounds is a lot. It's a lot of weight, bro. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so is it called Kush? Is that the name?
Yeah, they're calling it Kush. And right, so they're taking the bones, grinding it up, and then they're putting it with these other additives. So it's basically dead people remains. And like, it's mostly like, they're saying it's in West Africa, but rich people are smoking it or eating it or whatever they do with it.
You know that your bags can only be 50 pounds a piece, right? I mean, that's kind of like, that's like the average weight. So 101 pounds, you ain't just somebody just putting that in your bag like, oh man, my bag kind of extra heavy today. That's a lot of weight. I mean, that's 2 bags or more. You got to have 101 pounds, maybe 3 bags. You got to have a backpack. That shit was spread evenly throughout her stuff, man. She's tripping. She's telling us this is not true.
She's saying that they switched her bag.
You ain't feel it.
They're saying Lee said the Kush was likely planted in her suitcase while she was in a hotel in Bangkok. Also telling the paper, I know who did it.
She's ready to tell right now. That's what she's about to do.
I think
she's
ready
did.
To snitch, but I bet you
they're long gone. They're out of here. Okay, you can tell them whatever you want.
Like, you didn't recheck your bag.
You can say I did anything you want to say I did, but I didn't do it. It wasn't me, baby. It wasn't me.
You smoking grandma and shit.
Like, excuse me. That's pretty much where you at right now. That's pretty much where they at right now.
I got that on Polly, homie. I got that on Polly. You want that, homie Joey?
That's crazy, man. They're grinding up. Like, what is there? Is there an actual like some type of a high you get from smoking just the bones, or is it all the other stuff they're putting with it?
I think it's probably all the stuff they're putting with it, but the bones just. I remember you only ever seen Lord of War, but they had Nicolas Cage in there, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to try this new drug?" And they called it something. He's like, "What's that?" He's like, "Well, it's cocaine mixed with your gunpowder." And he hits it, stumbles off into Africa or whatever.
I saw that. And that's with the girls. All
yeah, but he's like, "Do we?"
Yeah, it was wilding. Yeah, it was wild. It was definitely wilding. But yeah, that's a strange thing. People are just willing to do anything these days, man. We gotta. I don't know. You know, I want to see if this reaches out here because I heard a while back ago. I remember I was in Mexico one time and they had this song called like, "You want this trippy something about Kush, Kush, Kush." And I thought they was talking about weed because everybody says weed is Kush.
Yeah,
I've heard. You know what I mean? There's different kinds of. But now they might have been talking about this right here and I didn't even know. The world is a strange place that we live in. People smoking dead people's remains. It's a wild one.
Well, I mean, rappers talk about that. We smoking on that blah blah pack.
Yeah, but not like this. They ain't talking about smoking dusted up bones, man. They ain't talking about that exactly. You know what I'm saying?
They got to guard the cemeteries. They be like, "Ooh, I got to get umbak."
Hey, you know how much money they probably hitting right now in the cemeteries. Imagine, say if you cremate somebody or something like that, there's probably, I wonder if their bones are, you know what I mean, what happens, you know what I mean, do you ever get any of this?
Well, the cremation, what they do, when they cremate you, your bones are still there. Your bones don't burn. So what they do is they take your bones and they grind them up, and that's how you get the powder.
Kush. That's the Kush. He's the Kush Connect. You got to look at the guy in the cemetery. He's the Kush Connect. He's got the primary ingredient.
They be like, "No, Mr. Johnson."
Let's might as well go start working at the cemetery now. You the plug.
I remember people used to smoke embalming fluid.
Yeah, they still do. They still smoke that. You know what I mean? But hey, Elon Musk on Doge and why he doesn't want to take responsibility for everything the administration is doing. In the beginning, Donald Trump and Elon Musk got along great. He's a truly incredible guy, Trump said at a campaign rally last October. I don't say that often. Musk spent $288 million to elect Trump and his allies. The president invited Musk into the Oval Office and cabinet meetings. Musk called himself First Buddy. Mr. Trump welcomed Musk's idea to create a Department of Government Efficiency. You got to give him credit, the president told reporters. Musk demonstrated his goals for the Doge by wielding a chainsaw at a February meeting of the Conservative Political Action Conference. "This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy," he bellowed. In 4 months, Doge took the chainsaw to every federal department. 250,000 workers were fired or bought out. Musk even slashed grants and staffing at environmental agencies like the EPA and NOAA after decades of warning about the risk of climate change. But Musk did not enjoy the pushback. There were acts of violence, death threats, lawsuits, mandatory rehirings, and shouting matches with cabinet members. Tesla profits plummeted by 71%, and Musk's net worth dropped by $100 billion. Last month, Musk finally left Washington, but still intended to work on Doge a day or two a week. And this past Tuesday, he offered Sunday morning an interview in SpaceX headquarters near Brownsville at the southern tip of Texas. We knew we were in the right neighborhood when we saw a huge bust of Musk installed by his admirers and vandalized by critics. But the interview didn't go off to a smooth start. We'll just leave it. But yeah, so basically, this is Elon Musk. He had a White House meeting on Sunday. I don't know if it was this past Sunday or Sunday before.
I think it was last week where he had a son. He said, "Oh, his son punched him in the eye."
Yeah, I mean, he had a pretty nice little black eye he had on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, I didn't know where he got the black eye from. I'm pretty sure your son's not strong enough to punch you in the eye and give you a black eye like that. He's like,
"Well, I wasn't in France." I'm like, "Well, what happened in France, bro? Why are you bringing that up?"
Okay, because the France's president got mushed by his wife on the plane. They show you, like, you saw it happen. She like mushed his face and everybody saw it. So basically, man, I don't know. Dude looked like he was smoking. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't know if you guys saw him, the way he was moving around and kind of the way he was doing it. It looked like one of those trippy, like old, like 1970 movies and stuff. That's what he looked like. He was going through a trip like that. You know, and I know they say he has like he's like autism of some sort, but no, man, something's not right with dude. His mouth's all funny looking, and he looked like he's smoking.
Yeah, no,
he's like a functional dope fiend.
He's been doing. They said he's been doing ketamine and he's been doing mushrooms on the whole the whole campaign trail. They got the video of him sitting in there. I'm gonna find it too. He's swacking right next to Trump.
Yeah, somebody like, I don't know.
Well, they're saying so it could have been two things, right? They're saying Elon got punched in the face for shoving 62-year-old Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
He hit him?
Yeah, they're saying that he hit him, right? But it's on this side of his eye, right? And they're saying Stephen Miller's left hand.
That's what I heard too. And they're saying about Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller's like a White House, like I can't. He's not chief of staff, is he?
No, I don't know.
He's like some type of He's like he was working in the White House, like some type of appointed assistant to Trump, right? And his wife went to go work for Doge, and then his wife, after Doge was over, left the White House to go work for Elon Musk personally. And everyone's saying that there's a lot of the publications are saying that his wife left him to go be with Elon. Elon's got dropping kids all over the place. So, I mean, I got to say right now, man, him and Trump were kind of going through it a little bit too. They were beefing. He came out saying that, hey, man, I don't know why. I feel like the big, beautiful bill is basically just ruining everything. All the work that Doge did to make cuts and stuff is basically just being eaten up by the big, beautiful bill. I don't agree with it. It's not a good bill. He's basically trying to get back in the good graces of people.
My bad to cut you off. They were beefing him and the Treasury Secretary because they were like, yo, bro, you said you was going to cut $1 trillion. Like you did $8 billion, maybe. And that's being light. And that's what they started beefing about.
Yeah.
That's why they started fighting.
I mean,
because he called him out. He's like, you ain't do nothing. You're an idiot.
That's what the Treasury Secretary said. I mean, and it's true. He didn't really make any cuts. He did. It's a whole bunch of hoopla, but nothing done. It's just like everything else. These people have been talking about all this waste, fraud, abuse, all these things going on, in the government, but they haven't come out with anything. So that speaks volumes about that what they've said to you has been lies, but you're still buying it because you have to keep pressing on with the same lies. Just like the same lie about, didn't Epstein kill himself or something like that, or he didn't kill him or something. You guys were saying that he didn't kill himself. And I'm not saying whether he did or didn't, but then you got the two guys who the FBI, Cash Patel, and then his assistant working on the case. Now they all come out saying, oh yeah, he definitely killed himself. I know for sure, because you can't trust anything these people say, man. They've been lying from the beginning. They said they're going to release the files. They didn't release anything. It's just what's been going on this entire time, bro. I mean, now you look at Elon, he's leaving right now. He's leaving like as a failure. He failed. He's like $2 trillion we're cutting. This dude doesn't do anything. He just basically cut your jobs. That's all he did. That was his cuts, your jobs. You know what I mean? Whatever you had going on for you and your family, I'm going to cut that from you. And then I'm going to take away any other program I can get so I can pocket some more money. And I'm going to make back $100 billion for the fact of me even spending this 288. It was nothing. I would trade that out. That's a swap out.
I mean, they took a lot of money from everybody. Elon Musk is a monster. But, the whole thing is like, people are like, oh, why would she do that to Stephen Miller? And I was telling Wes off camera, I'm going to tell y'all like this. Dave Chappelle once made a skit called Black People Reparations. And in the skit, a reporter went up to this dude named Tron. Like, Tron, you're the richest man in the world. How'd you get the money? He's like, oh, my hands got hot in the dice game. Right. And he explained it to her. And he was like, hey, baby, come sit on my lap. How would you like to sleep with the richest man in the world? And the reporter was like, well, since you put it that way, and sat on his lap. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, money will make you do some strange things. But I got a picture of her. She ain't that ugly, but
she got a cool little wife.
She's a monster just like Stephen Miller is. But we're going to keep you updated because Stephen Miller is left-handed. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Uncommon Courtesy. Until next time.